Listen up, this is the hardcore chair-swinging freak, the only king of violence, Axel Rotten, and you're the only place I'm at on the internet. That's in your head right here with my man Jack and the 1-inch bicep, the only place on the internet for wrestling news.
All right, and we're back once again, and we are joined by our close personal friend, Axel Rotten.
Hey, man, people were talking to me today. I was in the gym. They said, man, where's the one place you want to be? What's the one thing you want to do? I said, man, I got to hang out with my main man, Jack, tonight, and the little 1-inch man over there. I said, these guys are dependent on me to bring some flavor and some fun in your head. So, they were saying, hey, go out, let's go out and dance and go out and have some dinner. I said, I can't do it. Tonight, I'm in the head of all the wrestling fans on the internet with my main man, Jack. That's where I got to be.
Right. You can't blame me there. We're hanging out at the gym, like you said, 1-inch biceps. He's got the name to live up to. He's got to work on the 1-inch guns.
Look, if the biceps are only 1 inch, God knows what he's dealing with down below the belt.
Oh, yes. I believe DDP had something to say about that when we were talking about it, too.
Right. He doesn't have first-hand knowledge.
No.
He was too busy plugging the yoga.
YRG, Jack. YRG.
YRG. Yoga for regular guys. It's going to change the world.
That's what they say.
Oh, we got a call here already. Ash.
Hey, guys.
Hey, man, what's going on? You're on the air with Axel.
Oh, hey, Axel.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
You have a question?
Nice.
Yeah, Axel, are you going to be a part of One Night Stand 2?
Yes. The big ECW pay-per-view on June 11th. I think, for the most part, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the fact that, the Dudleys can't be there, these guys can't be there. I just want everyone to know that, I was in ECW long before there was a Dudley, and I was in ECW long before, there was a Raven, and before, so there's plenty of guys out there that, aren't under contract with TNA, and there's, ECW, in true ECW fashion, never fails to let the fans down, so I don't think anyone should be worried or deterred by the fact that, some of these guys are under contract with another company. With WWE and ECW, obviously WWE is the leading wrestling product in the world, and there's no way that they're going to go out there and put on a subpar product. I mean, I think that what the fans have to look forward to, is going to be to the best of the ability to be an authentic ECW show. Again, with guys like Chris Benoit, Jericho, I mean, people forget that they were ECW guys for a long time. And then you got guys like myself and, Tracy Smothers and the list goes on and on of guys that were true classic ECW guys. I mean, it's going to be a hell of a show. And I don't think it'll disappoint anyone that buys it or who has a ticket to go see it live.
Mm-hmm. Did you enjoy the last year's One Night Stand?
I had a good time with the exception of the fact that we didn't get to wrestle. Balls and I went out there and did our little deal with the BWO with the chairs and stuff like that. And it was cool because we went out there and we got a great reaction from people. It's just a shame that we didn't get to actually have a match. This year, I think it's too early to know what exactly is going on.
Right.
But I would like to actually go out there and have a match this year because, to bring up my main point of what I've been doing is basically, I've been training in the gym every day, 7 days a week. I've dropped a lot of weight. I'm working out. I'm, getting to the point where I'm going to be in the best shape of my career. And, now's the time to go out there, on that stage, the biggest stage that ECW has, which is the WWE pay-per-view, which in my opinion is just, it would be ECW's WrestleMania,
Right.
And to go out there and prove that, we still have what it takes, and still entertain the people.
Yeah, if anybody's gone to your MySpace, you can tell you've lost a lot of weight. You look a lot different. Get the black hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that, I've made a conscious decision now, hell, my birthday's Friday. I'm 35 years old, which isn't old by any stretch of the imagination as far as wrestling goes. But, I've turned my life around. I've turned my career around. And I've refocused completely on going to the gym, training properly, eating right, staying away from all those past demons that were there for years that drug me down. And I'm clear-headed, clear-minded, and I'm just doing really good. And I say to everyone who's around me, I have blinders on, and I don't see what happened before, and I don't see what's on the sides. I'm seeing right in front of me, and I'm focusing on the positive. And the positive for me right now is going out there and dedicating myself to being the best that I can be. And I've said this a million times. A guy like Terry Funk or Raven, Shane Douglas, guys who I respect in this business. If you ask them, they'll say, well, Axel Rotten is one of the best workers in the business. I was one of the best minds in the business, one of the best promo men in the business. The only thing holding him back was, Axel never really cared about going to the gym. I didn't give a shit. I was like Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I knew I was good enough that I didn't have to be a bodybuilder to make it. So now that I'm getting myself back into shape, putting the total package together to where, I look good, I feel good, and, the wrestling is there and the promo. So, I mean, it's going to benefit me, and it's going to benefit whatever company I end up working for.
Right. Was there any particular thing that happened that you decided to, that you just wanted to change your life?
Yeah, well, I was addicted to heroin. And, when I got off of that, a couple of years ago, it was a never-ending fight with it for years, and recently I've just become so focused on. Well, another thing that was, other than that, was the fact that, when Chris Candido died, who was one of my best friends in the world, and this month will be a year that he's been dead, I miss him every day, and I just think it would be such a waste when I hear his voice in my head, because he always used to say to me, "Actually, this is all we do. This is what we do. We're wrestlers." He goes, even if we're working at Walmart, we're a wrestler that works at Walmart, And that's different because some guys are Walmart employees who want to be wrestlers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
But me, I'm a pro wrestler. That's what I've been my whole life since I was 16 years old. So if I ever had another job, I was a wrestler who drove a cab, not a cab driver who wanted to be a wrestler.
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's in my blood. It's all I've ever done. But, getting off those drugs and that has cleared my mind up. And there's been times I've fallen down, relapsed, and made a few mistakes. But, you got to get right back up. And I've done that. And I have clarity in my life now, and with the focus of the pay-per-view coming up, and just my own physical well-being, I'm doing tremendous. And all those people that are my so-called friends that who used to be that hold that against me, what happened then is over and done with. You can't go back and fix the past. I'm looking at the future, and the future is looking real good.
Mm-hmm. We get another caller here. Who is this?
Frank.
Oh, what's up? You're on here with Axel?
What's going on, man?
I can't hear you.
It's Frank. Oh, you can ask your question and I'll talk.
Okay. If you could book your match for the One Night Stand pay-per-view, who do you want to fight, and do you want a gimmick match or whatnot? And if you were to retire tomorrow, what would your dream match be as your farewell send-off?
Did you hear him at all?
Yeah, thanks. That's good stuff. The thing is, the dream match can't happen because I would love to have wrestled Candido one more time, because him and I always had great matches together. Singles match comes to mind. It was before the November to Remember, 97, I think, in 98. It was Candido and I in the arena, in ECW arena. We had a great match. And it was one of those things where everything just fell into place. As far as what I would do for the pay-per-view, just to give the people the classic ECW style, that's not, over the top, because I don't really want to do one of those crazy, gory gimmick matches. If I did, I would want to wrestle Ian Rotten and, the classic barbed wire baseball bat match was we made famous, or the Taipei Death Match, which is the one that we put on the map. Even at the last Hardcore Homecoming, for all intents and purposes, everyone that saw the DVD or reviewed the DVD said Axel versus Ian Rotten sold the show. That would be what I would do if it was a gimmick match. But to really give the people the flavor of, feeling what it was like when we were clicking on all cylinders, I would like to see me and Balls against the FBI, because we had some of the best matches. They were fun, they were hardcore, but they were also hell of an entertaining match. Tracy Smothers, and Guido, with Tommy Rich, against me and Balls. And back when we used to throw Jeff Jones in there as the heel referee, I mean, we had such great time out there, everyone really had a good time, and that's what the people. I would like to see them on pay-per-view go, well, that was good, that was entertaining. That's what it's all about, and that would be the match I'd love to do.
Ooh.
Awesome.
You have another question?
No, just keep doing your good job, and I'll see you soon.
All right, thanks for calling in, man.
Late.
You mentioned about your matches with Ian. Do you think sometimes those aren't really remembered as like a big part of ECW?
No, I know they're remembered too much because people still talk about them 10 years later. Obviously, they're remembered because if you look at the WWE's new DVD, we're on it.
Oh yeah, the Bloodsport.
The Bloodsport matches and that whole DVD. I'm all over it. Talking about the flaming tables, the thumbtacks. I mean, let me give a little history lesson. I don't think people know a lot. The fact that, in ECW, the first person to use thumbtacks in the ECW arena, that was Axl Rotten. That was Ian Rotten. We were the first people to do that. First ever barbed wire baseball bat match in the United States, that was Axl and Ian Rotten. We did things before anyone else did, and you had people calling themselves, the king of extreme, the icon of this, the innovator of that. We did it before anybody else did it. Mm-hmm. And those matches are still talked about. To this day, fans will come up to me, and it's almost like if you were old enough to know when Kennedy got shot, they go, I remember exactly where I was when I said, that's what kind of indelible kind of scar, for lack of a better term, it leaves on their brain because they remember the first time they saw that stuff. Mm. Because it was something that had not been done. Oh, nowadays, you got all these kids, going out there just stapling themselves and rolling in light tubes. They're talentless hacks. They're just doing it because they don't know any better. And they'll come to me and go, well, you're my inspiration. You're the reason I did that. I said, well, don't pin that on me, Jack. I don't want to be the reason that you're rolling around in thumbtacks.
Right.
I did it because it meant something. Yeah. I didn't do it just because, hey, let's roll around in thumbtacks. I was involved in a program and a feud that culminated in thumbtacks and barbed wire. It wasn't done just for the sake of doing it. And that's what a lot of these guys in the independents do. Just, I'm hardcore, let me roll around in thumbtacks. That's just dumb. Grab an armbar, wrestle.
Right. It was something different at the time when everybody's doing it. It's no longer different.
Yeah, it's like I watch these guys, they'll come out. The other day I was on a show. Everyone knows my gimmick is I carry a chair to the ring that says this is going to hurt on it, that stuff. And, I'm known for the barbed wire bat. Well, this one guy, not only does he have the chair painted, he also has a barbed wire bat. Right. And I'm thinking, dude, I'm on the show. That's my gimmick. You're just going to take it. Right. And like, I watched their match. In the first second of the match, they're hitting each other with the barbed wire. So it's almost like they started the match backwards and worked to the lockup. It's like they did all the violence first. How do you top beating a guy in the head with a bat? What do you pin him with, a schoolboy? It doesn't make sense. Yeah,
exactly.
It's stupid.
Yeah, like you're saying, that'd be like, if you're on a show with Jake Roberts and you come out with a snake. Yeah. Just the only guys.
That's the problem, guys. The kids nowadays, these guys are breaking in the business. They don't have any respect for the wrestling business. Like, I was talking to Tracy Smothers, the other day, and it's sad because he and I were lucky enough to get to wrestle in territories like USWA, Memphis, Dallas, Florida, Portland. These guys today, all they do is they get to wrestle on independent shows where they sell tickets to be on the show. There's no such thing as a territory, where I'd get in my car and wrestle in Memphis, drive to Louisville the next day, drive to Evansville the next day, Nashville, TV. These guys don't have that. They don't understand what it's like to be on the road in the wrestling business. And, I was lucky enough to wrestle for Jerry Lawler in USWA. I got to wrestle guys like Jerry Lawler, Bill Dundee, Eddie Gilbert. These guys don't get that chance anymore. And they're not bringing the talent, the kind of workers that our generation was. This next generation, all they do is flip all over the place. Mm-hmm. They don't work. They don't get the people. They don't draw the people in. They don't get over. All they do is see how many times they can flip. Hey, that's impressive to watch, but after a while, okay, now he's going to flip again. Now he's going to flip again. It just gets boring and redundant after a while.
Yeah, I got you. We got another caller. Who is this?
This is Duckman.
Hey, Duckman, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just chilling as usual.
All right, you're on air with Axe. You got a question?
Yeah, I saw an old match on tape. I actually lost the tape, but it was one of the best matches I ever saw with Axl versus Tarzan Goto. And I was just wondering, what is it like to work with that guy? Because he looks crazy.
Oh, okay. You're probably talking about the match with Goto from Philly?
Yeah.
That one or the one from Japan? Probably the one in Philly, because I remember that was a hell of a match. You know, the thing about Goto is, you know, I guess I'm like an American style him, or he's a Japanese me, because we work the same kind of style, just, you know, stiff, snug. Well, you know, you don't go out there to hurt nobody. And we had a great respect for each other, so we could, you know, beat the hell out of each other and not, you know, have any real heat between us. And of course, you know, the language barrier was there, so, you know, if when all else fails, just punch him in the mouth. So it was like, but we had that kind of mutual respect with one another, where, you know, it wasn't done flagrantly to anyone, you know, to hurt each other on purpose.
Right.
You know, so he was a pleasure to work with. I worked with him in Japan, and I worked with him here in the States a few times, and he's a class act.
You know the question, Jack?
No, I'm all done. Thanks. You guys.
Oh, thanks, Doug.
Okay, nice talking to you, brother.
We got another caller here, too. The calls are lining up here. Who is this?
The phenomenal one, CD Styles, once again.
Hey, CJ, you got a question for Axel?
Yeah, if you could, an ECW match, if you could book, you know, a card, whatever, like the one night stand, who would you face?
I just asked that one.
Well, yeah, like I said, I'll say it again. I'd like to do me and Balls against the FBI, and the FBI, I mean Tracy Smothers and Guido with Tommy Rich, the original version. Because I think, again, we always entertained the people and had a hell of a match. Any town we did it in, it was a blast.
Yeah. Last year when you guys, what led to you guys leaving WWE? Because you guys got you guys had a deal there for a little while.
You know, it was like I got mixed signals. I never really got the truth because I really didn't ask. You know,
Right.
Because I look at it this way, honestly, and 100% on my side. We went out there and we got great reaction. You know, the crowd loved us. You know, every arena we went to, we were over huge. Me personally, I thought, you know, and I know I was too out of shape. You know, and Vince is a big fan of bodybuilders and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I'm not a bodybuilder, you know. I mean, even now that I've dropped 50 or 60 pounds, I'm not a bodybuilder, but I'm in much better shape.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was it or there were other extenuating circumstances. But, you know, I was never really told. But my time there, I had a great time. And as far as, you know, being a wrestler, if you're a wrestler, that's where you want to be, you know.
Yeah.
It's like being a baseball player and saying, you know, I really want to play for AAA Wichita. You don't. You know, you want to work for Vince.
Right.
And, you know, that's everyone's lifelong dream. You know, when I was a child watching wrestling, you know, WWF was all that was on. I didn't aspire, you know, to be a wrestler and say, maybe one day I'll wrestle in a fire hall and be a main event in front of 200 people.
Right.
You know, I wanted the main event Madison Square Garden, you know, and that's where, no matter what these guys tell you, and I don't care who they are, when they say, I'll never work for Vince, I don't want to work for Vince. Everyone wants to work for Vince. I still want to work for Vince because that's the place where you are justified and you gain credibility. You're a household name, and when you say, hey, I'm a wrestler, and they go, oh, when are you going to turn pro? Like, what do you mean? I've been wrestling 18 years.
Right.
But because they don't see you on that TV, they don't equate you as the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you ever any talks with TNA?
No, nothing formal. I mean, like I said, right now, all I'm doing is trying, like you said, you guys have seen, you know, the pictures and stuff. I'm just trying to get myself in the best shape I possibly can, you know, and when I'm to the point where I feel I'm ready, I'll talk to, you know, both or anyone, Japan. It doesn't matter because my theory on it is this, and it's not bragging, it's just the way that I feel. I'm a great talent in the ring, a great talent behind the camera, promo guy, you know, so there's a spot for me somewhere. It's just I got to make sure that I'm ready for it. And I'm not going to mess it up this time. I'm going to make sure the total package, so to speak, no pun intended, is together. I'm going to be in shape, be ready to go. And when I am, then I'll start making moves.
Yeah. You've got you brought up Candido, and you've got the on your MySpace the banner there for Candido. Some of the guys passing away. Did that Did that kind of scare you to, stop using some of the things you were using?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, let's make it perfectly clear that Chris didn't die from any kind of drug overdose. Or,
Right. He was.
That was totally a freak thing. And, like, the thing that gets me is, like, he and I would talk every day on the phone. And, a lot of people don't know, Chris and I are really, really tight. I mean, there was a point in my life when, I was down pretty low, and I couldn't even afford to pay my rent. And he sent me money to pay my rent. That's a friend.
Yeah.
When you're down that low, and if no questions asked, he just sends me $800. That's something that not a lot of people would do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was down and out, and things weren't going good, he said, "Get up here. Let me stay at his house." That's the kind of guy he was. I mean, I love Chris. I still love him to this day, and I miss him every day. And the fact is, the day that he died, I talked to him on the phone, and we end the conversation like we always do. Okay, man, I'll talk to you later. I love you too, and that was it. So I'm at peace with the way the last thing I talked to him and said to him. I'm happy about it. Everything's fine. But then Eddie dies. I've known Eddie for, Christ, I guess since '94. And when we were up there doing the thing with WWE, you had like Benoit and Eddie. They were all just so happy that we were there, Just like Eddie would always say, "Man, this is so good. I'm glad you're here. This is what we need." He goes, and we need guys like you and Balls, the guys that, don't look like all these bodybuilders. He goes, "It's so great because, you look like the kind of guy that would sit in the bar with you and drink a beer and then take you out back and kick your ass." He goes, "That's what we need. Those big, Dick the Bruiser kind of fighting wrestler guys,
Right, yeah.
We don't have them, and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, when Eddie died, another kind of a wake-up call going, man, he's 38, and I'm not even 38 yet. I'm like, I've got to get my thing in order, and give this one more last chance. Give me a run. At least know that I'm doing the right thing. And now that I'm all, again, go to myspace.com/Axelrod and look at the pictures. You tell me, it's like,
Definitely.
Most people say it doesn't even look like the same guy.
Right. Do you still get recognized?
Yeah.
We got another caller here. Who's this?
This is Jobber.
Hey, Jobber, what's up? You got a question for Axel?
Yeah, I'd like to know what ribs he's pulled or what ribs have been pulled on him.
Oh, well, I'm more the instigator, to be honest with you. Ian Rotten, he's the rib puller. I mean, he would. I mean, here's a story. When I was in Memphis, it was me and Ian along with the Headbangers. Remember the Headbangers?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Glenn and Chaz or whatever.
Yeah, Mosh, yeah.
Those guys will rib back and forth forever, man. They'd be like shaving cream in each other's shoes. One time they did. This is terrible. They took some saran wrap and put it over the toilet. And when he sat down to take a crap, he crapped all over himself. Because instead of going into the toilet, it went all over him.
Yeah.
That's a king rib right there. So I'm usually the guy that just stands around and laughs my ass off.
Right.
Because I love to watch it happen.
Yeah.
I just fan the fire, if you will.
You have any played on you?
Oh, trying to think. No, not really. Not that I can recall, not right now on the spot, but I'm sure it's happened, I just can't remember.
Yeah. No saran wrap on the toilet.
No, but hey, you guys feel free to use that one.
I'm writing it down right now. Thanks, Robert. You brought up Ian a few times. I know he's always had a lot of heat with Jim Cornette.
Right.
Has Cornette ever had any heat with you?
No, not really. I mean, I never really had any heat with Cornette. It's just he's old school. But what I understand is I'm old school too. The only difference is I'm not afraid to bleed all over the place. I mean, just because you're bleeding and getting color and doing barbed wire matches don't mean you don't know how to work.
Right.
He's a believer that, every match has got to be walking and talking, hey, ref, he pulled the hair, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to always be that. Mm-hmm. He's a creature of habit and fears change. But he's a great mind, great guy. I have not an ill word toward him. I think he's a tremendous talent and a wonderful and a great mind.
Do you get a question from the message board, Incher?
I got one question from Duckman here. He said, do you have any XPW stories?
Yeah. Well, I had the thing is, I had a great time with, that whole scene out there, the XPW. Rob Black was nothing but cool to me. I had a great time with him. I hung out with Ron Jeremy and some, let's just call them ladies. And, as far as the shows went, I had a blast. I never had a bad time out there, because it was when the last couple times, it was me, Candido, Tammy, Shane, Cronus. We were all together just having a blast.
Right. Yeah.
It was a real good time. I really have never had a bad time, working for XPW. Rob Black, people have said things about him, but he's never done anything to me, and he's always been straight up business with me.
Cool. What about work with Paul Lee?
Well, there was, that's like a kind of a roller coaster thing.
Right.
There was a time that I was pretty outspoken about how I didn't think I was being used right, and but that wasn't just me. Other guys in the locker room felt the same way. It's like, you got this guy, like me, that no matter what they do to me, I still get over, and I'm one of the most popular guys on the show, and there's not taking advantage of that,
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew why, and I don't really care,
Yeah, it's happening.
A couple years ago, Paul and I talked, everything is fine, and, I don't have any heat with him, he don't have heat with me. It's just, I'm very outspoken about the fact that I know what I can do and what my abilities are, and if I'm not being utilized for that, I feel like not only am I being cheated, but you're cheating the fans, because I can give you more.
Do you think that's something you need to be a wrestler, is a lot of confidence? Some people...
Well, it's
to make it.
People always talk about, I'm cocky and I have a bad attitude, but that's not true, because, like Kid Rock says, it's not cocky if you can back it up, and I can go out there and tell you, I can do what I say I'm going to do, and a lot of these guys, these glorified backyard wrestler guys, they can't do it, but they watch Ric Flair and they can go, woo, so they think they're a wrestler. The thing is, again, it's like when people see me, when you walk into a room and they go, that guy looks like a wrestler. You have that persona. But some of these guys, you look at them, they look like pimply-faced kids, wearing baggy pants, and I'm a pro wrestler. Like, man, get out of here and park my car. It's like and I'm not a firm believer in the fact that everyone has to look like Chris Masters,
Right.
But I believe that, if you're asking someone to pay $25 for you, it better not be the same guy that just delivered their pizza.
Right. There's got to be something that stands out about you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another question there, Incher?
I was just wondering what it was like working with Fred Durst when you guys did that thing with Limp Bizkit.
It was cool. Fred's a cool cat. He and I sat and talked for a bit, because I'm a big, music's a big part of my life. I love music. I'm working on getting a band going together. I used to manage bands. I love all kinds of music. From country to rock to rap, you name it. So I sat and enjoyed just sitting talking to Fred, about the music business. So like that, the same thing, when I was hanging with Joey C and Kid Rock, it was just, I enjoyed the music business. So it was fun to be just sitting there talking to those guys. Same thing when I was hanging out with the Insane Clown Posse, just talking the music business was fun for me. But Fred was real cool, laid back, we had a blast, and I actually had an idea to do a lot more, but we didn't go with my original idea, because the more I thought about it, I originally had Fred hitting Corino with the chair, but then I thought if he didn't do it right, it would just fucking ruin everything.
Yeah. Who threw the stiffer chair shot, you or Balls?
Who's harder?
Yeah.
Balls. Because I'm a better worker.
Oh, okay.
I don't just hit people for the sake of trying to hurt them.
Right.
But plus, he's a gorilla. He's so much stronger than me.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, he's got that retard strength. He's like, have you seen my baseball? Have you seen my baseball? He's like Warren from fucking Something About Mary, Something About Mahoney.
He's taking too many chair shots, I guess.
Yeah, but he's a great dude. You can't help but love him. He's a big caveman.
Yeah, I always thought he was one of the most underrated guys.
He's very talented.
Yeah. What do you think about the term garbage wrestling?
It's garbage wrestling. Just turn on TNA. No, I'm actually kidding about that because I saw Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels had a hell of a match the other day.
Yeah.
On that show. To me, I'm not a garbage wrestler because I know how to have a brawl. I know how to have a hardcore match. Now, there are some of these guys that don't even need a weapon to be a garbage wrestler because they suck so bad, I mean, it's like that whole term to coin, the violent style of wrestling as garbage wrestling is just by those people that like to watch people flip around all day. I call that gay ballet. I don't call that wrestling, I mean, flipping around and looking like you're rehearsing, ballroom dancing in the ring, that's not exactly wrestling either.
Yeah, that's a hell of a gimmick, the gay ballet. You got another question from the board, Inchman?
Hambone, he wants to know why you don't dye your hair blonde anymore.
Who wants Hambone?
Hambone.
I love it. For no particular reason. I just decided that I just cut it all off. I mean, it's not that I may not do it again, but just right now, I just don't feel the desire to do it. I mean, I've been bleaching my hair since I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, I'm gonna just try something different.
Yeah. He also asked, would you like to be a commentator? He thought you were pretty funny on the mic.
Well, again, like I said, that's a lot of people don't understand that I have, the talent. And again, like I said, the guys that you asked, like Mick Foley and Raven, that I respect, they'll tell you, I can do this. I can do anything, as far as the wrestling business goes. But to me, I wouldn't mind commentating, but I tend to bore so easily. Just sitting there for hours talking, about wrestling would probably put me to sleep.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to do in wrestling, like after you retired, like train guys or?
Well, I do. I mean, I've always trained guys. I still do. Like speaking, like a lot of people said, man, you have such a great mind for the business. You should, go into writing, booking, and stuff like that. Because that's the old thing, man. Old wrestlers never die; they just go book somewhere. It's like you never leave the business. And I'm flattered by the fact that a lot of guys think my mind is sharp enough to do that kind of stuff. And I'd surely be open to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Early in your career, you were in WCW for a while, right?
Right, sure.
Yeah. Why didn't you stay there longer?
I was actually just brought in because they fired one-man gang, and they didn't have anyone for PN News to wrestle. And they brought me in to do that. And the funny thing was, Jake Roberts' dad was one of the bookers, and he didn't like me. And, I did nothing to the fucking guy. I mean, I'm sorry, I was cussing on here. I did nothing to the guy. And, he just didn't like me. And, when you get something like that, and one of the guys that's in the office doesn't like you, you're not going to have much of a chance.
Yeah. I think that was the first time I saw it.
It was nothing that I did. I mean, Christ, I was 19 years old. I didn't know nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was the first time I saw you. You there, I think you were in Global for a little while.
In Global, yeah.
Yeah. You got another question from the message board, Inchman?
Hambone, his last question. He just wants to know, do you ever feel like you're not remembered enough for your success in ECW?
Well, yes and no, because a lot of times, like even when you watch, like, the commercials, they'll show the clips, a lot of what put ECW on the map in the summer of '94 was me and Ian with the Taipei match and the barbed wire bat match, and you never see clips of that,
Mm-hmm.
It's never shown, and that's more, that really back in those days brought that company more press than anything they had going on.
I remember seeing that.
Complete Work, they put Ian and I as feud of the year in 1995 in Pro Wrestling Illustrated.
Yeah.
Now remember where that's coming from. That was coming from ECW that didn't run anywhere except for Philly then.
Mm-hmm. I remember that's the first time I heard about it.
So, I mean, they put us over, the Nasty Boys, Savage, Flair, all those guys just to give us that kind of a rub. So, I mean, obviously we were doing something right, and the people at PWI, which is a national publication, thought it enough of what Ian and I were doing to put it over the national companies. And now, in retrospect, 10, 11 years later, people are still talking about that, and people go, well, what's that mean? I said, what that means is when someone talks about something 10 years later, that's called making history. I made history in ECW. It's something that will go down in wrestling history. People will always remember that. And, they're not going to remember, I don't know, who knows, Mikey Whipwreck giving Steve Austin a handshake in the area. No, I mean, but they do remember those bloody, violent feud that Ian and I had, and it will always be in the true ECW fans' mind. They still think about it, and those people that discover ECW now for the first time, the first thing that a lot of the fans goes, you got to see this, So it's like we will always be remembered because when they go and say to their friends who've never seen it, well, that's not so extreme, that's not so extreme. They always got the trump card of Axel versus Ian and going, now look at this, and then they go, holy shit. Now, so we'll always have that.
Oh yeah, the first time I started seeing ECW was on, it's actually on a Spanish channel here, and but it was, it's in English, and they would talk about, the Thai Fight Death Match, and I was like, oh man, I got to buy that tape.
Yeah, because they wouldn't show it on TV. Paulie was smart because he wasn't going to give that away.
Right.
Like you said, because we're going to make people pay to see that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about it and show black and whites, and we'll show stills, but we're not going to give that away. What
was when you first saw the ECW arena? What did you think?
We got to remember that was 93 or 94, and we would only have 200 people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't what it was. See, what I first got was what isn't what you guys remember. You guys remember like it packed and people waving their hands, dancing the Public Enemy. No, it used to be the fact that the show would start and Bob Ortiz would give a microphone and go, "Could everybody please move to this side so it looks like we have a crowd?" So you had 3 empty sides of a building.
Right. I was actually kind of going for
that. That goes to show you what we did and what we established there. We went from drawing 200 people to turning away people in less than 2 years, in less than a year. It became such a movement. It became such an underground swell, and it became such a personal thing. The ECW is a personal thing to the fans. ECW is something that's special to the fans because it was our thing. It was us against everybody. It was the wrestlers and the fans, kind of like, we were like the Black Panthers of wrestling. It was us against the world. We did our thing, and to hell with everybody else. And it means a lot to the fans. The fans that were there, they understand that they were a part of a movement, a part of something special. It was, I always said in the beginning, ECW was always we and us. And toward the end, when money got involved, it became I and me, and that's what ruined it.
Yeah.
But before it was we get back in the dressing room and we'd all sit around and go, man, we're going to rock this joint tonight. We're going to do this. When all of us together are going to put on a hell of a show. And then it became, well, what's my spot on the pay-per-view? What am I getting? That's when it became problems.
Yeah. You think it just got it got too big, but it couldn't really pass like WWE?
No one's going to pass that.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon owns wrestling. He always will own wrestling. He's too smart. His company and the people around him are too smart. He knows what he's doing. He reinvents the wrestling business every couple of years.
Right.
With things that people think are the most ridiculous things in the world, and then in the end you like it. I mean, people saw the Boogeyman, they laughed at it. Now he's over like crazy. I'm the Boogeyman. Look at you. I love it.
I do too.
I watch TV. I'll watch SmackDown to see the Boogeyman and Eminem. That's the reason I watch SmackDown. I love that stuff. But no one's going to screw with WWE. No one can overtake them. TNA, when I watch the TNA show, if I can sit through the whole thing, it just reminds me of watching WCW Thunder, which wasn't even the good show. The Nitro was the A show, Thunder was the B show, and what bothers me is the fact that don't sleep on the fact that there's not talent there. There's tons of talent there.
Yeah.
It's just that the TV product to me doesn't come across exciting. When I watch it, it's not exciting. When you watch Raw, the energy, it's more exciting. And it's the atmosphere and the ambiance of what you're watching, and I just don't think TNA is capturing that. I'm not saying they're not going to, But just right now, that's what's missing. Because the talent's there. You have great talent. You got AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. I mean, you got Bubba, you got Devon. You have Jeff Jarrett. You have a real solid crew,
Well, what do you think they would need to do to add excitement?
Change buildings.
Yeah.
I think the problem is they're in that same building. And here's my, okay, I'm an average wrestling fan who, works 40 hours a week, drinks a couple beers, has a pickup truck with a gun rack and says, get her done, which I don't. I'm just saying I am. The thing is, you watch the TV show, and then they want you to pay $40 for a pay-per-view that's emanating from the exact same place as the TV show, so it looks like you're paying $40 to watch the same TV show. It just doesn't play. It needs to be put in another arena.
Yeah.
Because look at it this way. A wrestling TV show, and I've always said this, the audience are characters in that show. If you're sitting home watching TV and everyone in the audience is sitting on their hands bored, or you're sitting there thinking, well, this must not be that good. If the people that paid to get in aren't excited, why should I be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had, some TNA guys on here, and they say the crowd for the pay-per-view is a lot better than a lot of times just like their regular crowd, because a lot of it is, guys that don't come there just to see the wrestling. They're there for the, they're at Universal Studios, and it's more like an attraction just for the studio.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. What do you think about an all-cage match pay-per-view? The lockdowns.
I'm sorry, say that again?
This weekend's their lockdown pay-per-view where all the matches are in a cage. What do you think about that concept?
I think it's really redundant because, first of all, a whole show of nothing but cage matches is going to get repetitive very quickly. There's only so much you can do.
Right.
And when you have a crew of guys that aren't exactly going to go out there and go blood and guts crazy, and then again, if every match goes blood and guts crazy, by the end of the night, you're just bored.
Right.
So it's just, to me, the concept on paper may sound phenomenal, but when it translates into a live event, I just don't think it plays out well.
Yeah. Pretty much they keep adding different gimmicks to the matches, which is weird because they're all cage matches anyway. You shouldn't have to add another gimmick to the match. Right.
Well, again, it's just, overkill.
Yeah. But I remember last when they had it, by the end of the show, it was like you didn't even see the cage anymore. It's just, because every match was in a cage. That was like the ring.
And that's sad. Because think about it, when I was a kid and I would sit in the Baltimore arena and I'd watch wrestling, and I'd watch it, and they would say, and next month, the main event, is Terry Funk against Hulk Hogan. And you go, oh, okay, well, and a steel cage. And the people went nuts.
Right.
But when you're doing 8 matches in a cage, you're like, oh, okay, guess what's next? Cage match. Hey, I wonder what's next. Cage match. It's just not smart.
Yeah. I just want to bring up something earlier when you said about the Boogeyman, because I pushed this on the show a lot, is that they got to start selling gummy worms at the arena.
Oh, well, dude, from your mouth to Vince's ears. I can't believe he hasn't already done it.
Yeah, I just think that's an excellent idea. If he uses it, I want to check.
But trust me, it's going to be done. As a matter of fact, if it's not going to be done, I'm going to hang out with you and I'm going to call Tommy Dreamer.
All right, that's cool.
I'm going to say that we got it right here. My man Jaguar wants the gummy worms sold at the arena. We'll get you a cut.
See, it's an excellent idea. Plus, kids would eat them like him. Well, they take a handful.
Imagine how much money you'd make if you're selling handfuls of them like that.
Right, so they have to keep buying more and more. I really thought this through.
Actually, I think it is. And if WWE ice cream is available, hey, why not some WWE gummy worms?
Yeah. They still sell those ice cream bars?
As a matter of fact, I had one last year that had the Dudleys on it, and I popped for it. And those things are good, dude. They're good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know where the hell you get them from anymore, but I saw one and I popped for it.
Yeah. Hope it wasn't like 3 or 4 years old.
No. I hope not.
That's all right. Get another question from the board, man? Intro?
Duck Zero, speaking of the Dudley boys, he asked, did it hurt when the Dudleys put you through a flaming table?
No, because they never put me through a flaming table.
Oh, man,
they
Duck
put Balls
Zero.
through a flaming table. Now, Balls put me through a flaming table.
Oh, okay.
Balls threw me through. So I can't answer the question about the flaming table. It didn't hurt, but the problem was I got burnt a little bit. I mean, my hair caught on fire and my back a little bit. But that wasn't the first time I'd actually played with fire. I mean, I got Eddie Gilbert threw a fireball at my face years ago when I was wrestling him in the Mid-South Coliseum and singed my eyebrow off. You know, so that's kind of one of the things I don't believe in. Like natural elements like wind, fire, rain, you can't control them. You know? No matter what you do, you can't control fire. You know, and it's not something to be played with.
Yeah. Did you see Mania? WrestleMania?
No.
Oh, they used the flaming.
I saw photos of it.
Yeah.
But you know that, and again, it's hey, I'm surprised that Edge did that, and more power to him. You know, he didn't have to.
Right.
You know, so it was something. You know, him turning up a little bit and doing something a little more. So, you know, that I think it's great when guys like that go above and beyond the Call of Duty. You know, because so many guys are just willing to just get by. You know, not willing to bust their ass anymore. They're just willing to do whatever it takes just to get by, and that's what makes, you know, that's what's sad about there's no competition for WWE right now. There's nothing opposite Raw. I think the best thing that could happen is there would be a TV show opposite Monday Night Raw, because Monday Night Raw would be that much better. You know, it's the best wrestling show on television, but if it had competition, you know, back, you know, years ago when Nitro was kicking Raw's ass, they were trying everything they could.
Right.
You know, and, you know, complacency breeds contempt breeds boredom, you know, and when you have the luxury to sit on TV and do whatever you like, and you have no competition, you know, you can sit there and do an interview about God. You can, you know, it doesn't matter because people don't care.
Yeah. Did you see that?
No, I watched a piece of it.
The lightning bolts.
Yeah.
Do you think TNA should do that? Go up against Raw on Monday nights?
I think as far as what that would do, would basically show how far ahead WWE is, because it wouldn't even make a blip, I think, on the ratings radar, but it would, I think, give them a kick in the ass that they need, you know, to turn it up a bit. You know, just because, and I'm speaking from the fans' point of view, I think the fans would be more excited if that were going on.
Yeah, definitely. Somebody asked, they sent me an email here, they want to know what your favorite weapon was that someone gave you at the ECW arena.
You know, we used to do some of the old school classic, those little frying pans were always the best. You know, that from years ago, and when they stopped giving those, or stopped selling those, at Foreman Mills across the street or whatever, that kind of ruined everything. Because I used to love whacking people with the frying pans. Barbed wire dildo was interesting. Anytime you get a double dong wrapped in barbed wire, you know.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, take that home to your girlfriend.
Yeah, so.
Honey, I'm home. You know, but that was interesting.
I think they used that in the movie 7.
Oh, man, right. Hell of a movie that was.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say that right now. But, you know, that was, you know, something. But there's been so many crazy things, you know, that people would try to give us. I mean, there was a point in time when, like, security would just have to take it and be like, what are you thinking, dude? You know, are you crazy? But there's been times that I popped, like when we were in Philly, and, you know, Tommy Dreamer and I were in the back room, and we found a car door. You know, he took a car door out one time. A newspaper dispenser machine, you know, the kind on the streets.
Yeah.
You know, used that once. A hood. You know, just it's so ridiculous, you know. Yeah. But people just went nuts for it.
Uh-huh.
You know, but it was so ridiculous, you know, and people went nuts for it. Dude, the whole thing, that Al Snow with the head.
Yeah.
That wasn't planned. That head was one of the gimmicks that people brought in for us to use, for me and New Jack and the Dudleys.
Right.
That wasn't like Al Snow's like moment of brilliance that he think I'm going to use a head. It just kind of he saw, hey, I'm taking that head. You know, some fan brought that in for us to use as a weapon.
Why do you think that?
The rest is head history.
Right. Why do you think that got over as well in WWE?
You know, I don't know, to be honest with you, because it played out so well in Philly, you know, because, again, like I said, our fans in Philly, they were a part of the show. They knew what they were supposed to do. They were like the 12th man, quote unquote. They knew how to chant, how to do it. So that's why ECW TV always looked so exciting, because the fans knew exactly how to react. And that was a paramount issue. That was key to making it good.
I think that's one thing that would help TNA if they had the fans who would chant. They do on sometimes they chant TNA or they chant Bentley the Bentley Bounce and stuff.
The excitement level just isn't there. And I'm not bashing it. I'm because like Kip and Brian and these guys, my friends, the Dudleys, and they're all really talented guys, and they're not doing bad. It's just something does not convey in the product over the air. I mean, the wrestling is fine. It's just that the level of excitement is just not there when you watch it on TV. And that's something that has to be fixed. And I don't know how to fix it, but it needs to bring the excitement level up a notch.
Right. You got another question, Incher?
Let's see.
Someone would know about if he's ever ate at Bam Bam Bigelow's Deli.
Oh, yeah.
No. I would, but I haven't.
Yeah. Oh, I would definitely eat there. How about Abby's House of Ribs?
Yeah, I've eaten there.
Oh, man.
Not so good.
No, really?
Yeah, his ribs are a rib.
Oh.
Oh, man.
No, it was actually pretty good. Good stuff.
Oh, okay. Because we're planning on doing the In Your Head road trip to eat at Abdullah the Butcher's House of Ribs.
Yeah, well, don't think you're getting it on the house. Trust me.
I'll bring my credit card.
Exactly.
You're paying it.
Gotta pay, champ. Gotta pay.
You got any good Abdullah the Butcher stories?
Well, actually, when I was in WCW, he and I were road partners. Me, him, and Mick Foley used to travel together.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say, I'd be in the back seat, and he'd always say, "Big man, they're not using you right. You got to speak up. He goes, you got all that talent. You can cut them promos, and you can wrestle, you can move. You're just letting them take advantage of you." I mean, I was 19 years old. I didn't know nothing. I was just happy to be there.
Right.
Motherfucker handed me like fucking $3-4 grand a week. I'm shutting up. I wasn't saying nothing.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to drive him his days, and I'm trying to drive it to the stove. I didn't give a shit what was going on. I'm just cashing checks. I didn't care, but he was always like, "Hey, they're not using you right," And Abby's a smart dude. I mean, he's been around forever. So he's not stupid. But again, it's not in my position. I can't speak up. I mean, I'm a 19-year-old kid. Just happy to be there.
Mm-hmm. Who were some of the guys that you watched as a kid, that you were a fan of?
What made me want to be a wrestler was, first and foremost, Dusty Rhodes was my all-time favorite, and simply because he wasn't a bodybuilder. He was just a regular-looking guy, and he'd go out there and he had all that charisma, and everyone loved him. And that's how I am. I mean, it's like I don't have this great physique, but when I go out there, man, I get the people involved. Everyone has a good time. It's like a big party when I'm out there. And another guy is a big influence with Superstar Billy Graham. Those are my two favorites. As a kid, was Dusty Rhodes and Superstar Billy Graham. And then as I was breaking into wrestling, 87, 88, between 86, I still am a big fan of Bret Hart. I've always been. I have tons of respect for Bret Hart. And people are always like, "That's strange, he doesn't seem like the kind of guy you'd be a fan of." But I love watching Bret work. He's very crisp. Same along the lines of a Benoit, very crisp, very, very snug, and very believable. And he's very talented. And to me, I always said it wasn't a stretch when he said he was the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. And anyone that knows me knows I'm a big Bret Hart fan. And I think he's a super, super talented guy. And he's a guy, to me, that has a lot of respect, and he carries himself, with a lot of pride, and that's important.
Right. Somebody wanted to know what you thought about the hardcore title in WWE. If you thought they kind of made it
I
into a
think it
conflict.
ruined it. I think they could have had a legitimate division, and then they made a joke out of it.
Mm.
You know, with all this, pins counting in the park. Just they made a joke out of something that could have been a legitimate title.
Yeah. You think it kind of? Do you think hardcore wrestling is kind of passé now?
No, it's never passé. It's just a matter of it being done right. If
Right.
it's done right, it's always good.
Yeah.
But if it's just redundant and gratuitous violence, then it's not done right.
Yeah. Is there anything
It's
you
just
see?
it's just like saying is a match like Ric Flair against Ricky Steamboat, a bad match, which was like one of the best matches in the '80s. Blah blah. You can still watch it now, and it's still just as good.
Right.
It's the same thing with hardcore wrestling. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it doesn't matter when it is. It's bad.
Yeah, I agree totally. Do you have another question, Incher?
Let's see. Check the message.
He's checking the message board. Well, a friend of both of ours, Hack Myers, who we had on here the other week, I got in touch with him. Again, do you have any good Hack Myers stories?
Oh God, well, a lot of them. One time I was taking him up to train, and we was training up in Hanover, Pennsylvania. We were leaving from Baltimore. It was 20 degrees outside, and I had him sitting in the back seat of the car. Me and Ian were sitting up front, so we rolled all the windows down in the car and turned the heat off, stepped up front, and we rode for 40 minutes with a blizzard, and he was just like a snowstorm in the back seat, just ribbing him when he was so cold. He was dying back there, just to mess with him.
Yeah.
Hack's a great guy, man,
Yeah.
Real stand-up guy, always a good kid.
Someone here in our message board, Jobber to the Stars, he wants to know, can Axel do any impressions?
Huh. Yeah, Axel can do tons of impressions. Axel can do the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, baby. 3-time world heavyweight champion. The Bull of the Woods, baby. That's what the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes is all about, Jack. I can do that one for you.
Oh, man, that was good.
Then I can do... What are you talking about, Dusty Rhodes? Yeah, I'm talking about the Macho Man, yeah. The madness, not Dusty Rhodes. I'm talking about the madness, yeah. Do that one.
Perfect.
I'll do old school for you. So don't talk around. Nikita Koloff, Dusty Rhodes, Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup. Got that one.
Sweet.
I've got a million of them.
We have to hire Axel to do liners for us of all these
I was going
guys.
to say, you guys ever need some phony drops? I'm your man. I'm your man. Yeah, I'm a master impressionist.
Don't tell us that. We'll take advantage of it.
Right.
Love the Hulk Hogan liner, the Andre the Giant.
What you gonna do, brother? I'm sitting here listening to this radio show, Jack. I'm hanging and banging, a 24-inch tube's hanging out, brother. Got that one too. All those.
Oh man, those are awesome.
But that's just I've always been able to do that as far as picking up voices and doing impressions is something I've always been able to do. And I got to tell you, I get no respect around here. Axel Rotten, I tell you, he's no respect. I called a Lonely Hearts Club. I wasn't that lonely. I tell you, no respect here. And on that note, guys, I didn't realize I have to go.
That's all right.
It's 8:35.
I know. Can we keep you on here?
8:35, and I have to get to the gym.
All right, can we keep you here for 1 second so we can get a liner from you?
Absolutely. And hey,
All
don't
right.
forget to check out my page. Go to MySpace, /
Yep.
Axel Rotten.
Yeah, we'll put the link right up on our website.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
This is the enforcer, C.W. Anderson, and you're listening to InYourHeadOnline.com, and I listen to it because I'm an Anderson.